All right. I am joined for our first interview with Jeanna de Waal, actor, educator, known for her infamous tenure in the titular role of Princess Diana in Diana the Musical, as well as the founder of Broadway Weekends and Adult Theater Summer Camp. She's currently the standby for Mrs. Lovett and Beggar Woman in Sweeney Todd on Broadway and just finished a short stint as Mrs. Lovett with Nicholas Christopher in the show. Gina, how are you?
I'm so good. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. We're so pumped to start off doing interviews on the show, and I was so excited when I found out that our first one was gonna be you. So I'm so excited. I'm a huge fan. I like starting off interviews and stuff by asking some things that maybe the audience might not know because again, you are critically acclaimed in so many things, and I can't wait to get to those. But I was wondering, is there like a credit of yours or something you've done in your career that not a lot of people know about? Because I feel like when we're in this industry,
Mm.
sometimes you do so many things, some things fall by the wayside that you're really proud of. So I didn't know if there's anything
Yeah,
in that realm for you.
definitely. I would say so. I grew up in a performing arts boarding school, and then I went like straight into the business. So for a while, I
Mhm.
had just been like performing, and in my like mid 20s, I was like, "There's more to me. There's got to be more to me." So I definitely had that that like let's be a writer director phase, and I wrote a pilot. We shot it, we edited it, we entered it into festivals. It won like a little festival in New York, like it was so
That's
much
so
fun and so
sick.
great.
Wait, yeah,
Yeah,
wait, can I ask what the pilot was?
yes, it was a comedy about a girl who's a germaphobe, but she's so sort of like hungry and looking for love that she agrees to go on a blind date to a bowling alley, and chaos ensues.
That's like oh, that's amazing. That feels like a really, really funny, like, New Girl episode almost, like a very, like, rom-commy kind of
I
vibe.
mean, it was definitely like we were watching Girls at that time. We were watching,
Mhm.
all those female dating comedies. I'm blanking on so many, but yeah, exactly. It was definitely influenced by what I was
Yeah.
watching at the time.
Oh, that's so sweet. Well, I mean, speaking of, like, filming and stuff like that, I know that you've done so many things, but the one thing I knew of you from I'm so bad at talking, I shouldn't have a podcast, but, the one thing I, like, really, really loved and knew, I've seen Diana the Musical on Netflix probably, like, 15, 20 times. It's one of my favorite pro shots ever. I love it very much. I was wondering, obviously, when you took on this role, it was a huge process. I'm pretty sure you guys are one of the shows that, like, opened before COVID, then reopened after the pandemic
Yeah,
too. What
yeah.
was it like to not only have that big shift, but then also do this huge pro shot for Netflix? Because I know there are so many shows, like, I think every show gets archived in some way, but was
Mhm.
there any, like, different capacity to making this, like, massive Netflix pro shot of the show?
Well, yes. I mean, the whole thing was huge in my life in so many ways, just because the world, everything that was going
Yeah.
on personally and in the world, and then this career, which was like whiplash in some ways, like
Yeah, absolutely.
gearing up really hard, like for this really physically demanding show, and then sort of it stopping, and then oh, now we're going to Netflix. So there was lots going on in my life for the
Yeah,
whole of that
absolutely.
period. But it definitely was different in terms of um, there was no audience, which I think is another reason that some people don't like it, is
Mhm.
because it's a little dry. But with not having an audience, it meant that the seats could be taken out and the cameras were on cranes. So
I was gonna
it
say
wasn't.
'cause if I feel like compared to other pro shots that I've seen, it, like, has so many it feels more like a movie almost, like, it has so many angles and shots and everything.
Right. So there was the freedom to have cranes. There was the freedom for the camera to come on the stage. The other thing that was interesting was for the sound, they didn't want us amplified.
Mhm.
So because they wanted to add all the reverb and stuff on the back end for the
Yeah.
film. So if you can imagine, you're in this massive empty theater, but it's not amplified. So your voice was our natural um,
Oh. So
sound,
you have no mic
and
on or anything?
we're wearing it just for show.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry. That we're not wearing it for show. It is picking up the raw sound, which is what they want. They didn't want to pick up like sound that's already been mixed and amplified. They
Okay.
wanted to pick up our
That's
actual
so
raw
interesting. I had no
voices.
idea that that was the case.
So it was completely like quiet. And the other thing is, the same, there was no orchestra because they wanted as little interference with that core sound as possible. So it was just the MD playing very quietly on a keyboard.
Wait, really?
Yes.
I
So
had no idea that this is how this worked. That's crazy.
it took a lot of getting used to,
Yeah,
because you're used to this like big rock sound amplified, especially in the big dance numbers, and it
absolutely. Yeah.
wasn't. It was completely organic sound with a very quiet keyboard.
That that would be so difficult to go from having a huge Broadway show to doing it as, like, small as possible, but still
It
in the
was, and it was
space.
also like helpful with the cameras as well because everything just felt very reduced,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I
No,
think in that way
absolutely.
it was helpful. It wasn't like, "Oh my god, I'm trying to act natural, but my voice is huge." It was like, "Oh, I'm quiet and I'm on stage." But, then you add
That
all
is
the,
so
all the
cool.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's
Oh
how it
my
all worked
god,
out.
that's so sweet. Well, I'm so glad to know some behind the scenes action of that because it's a wonderful pro shot. But I wanna talk about something that I had no idea you were doing, and then when I found out about it, I did a ton of research on it, and I loved it. So I just wanted you to tell me Broadway weekends, what is it?
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's a summer camp for adults, a theater summer camp for adults, which I've been
Mhm.
running since 2017. Um, I started it because, as I sort of mentioned already, I grew up in performing arts training. Like I
Yeah.
literally went to a boarding school for performing arts, and then I've been lucky to work, in this business. And often my favorite part of the process is the rehearsal period, especially if it's like creative or a new piece. And I just get so much out of it, and I always have. So I really wanted to recreate that experience,
Yeah.
that people could explore what that is like. And I think interestingly, what in this business, even though it's very competitive,
Mhm.
once you get into a cast, it's not competitive anymore actually, because everybody's got their track, and
Yeah.
there's not going to be changes or
There
anything
is
like
kind of a
that,
hard
right?
shift between, like, a really competitive spirit to, like, a really good family dynamic when you're in a cast.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And but that family dynamic is purposeful. It sort of is created in every creative environment because it allows people to relax and explore what they're bringing to the table, and it builds camaraderie. It helps people. So there's a lot of positive benefits to that
Yeah.
time that I really always feel in my life when I'm in a creative environment. So it was very much to create that. I mean, now the people who come now really range why they're there. At best, it's a fantasy. I mean, for some people, it's a fantasy camp basically, and whether they used to do it or they still do community theater or they want to do it uh,
Yeah.
as a sort of like something adventurous and something fun. There's people who come for that reasons. There's people who come for just sort of the love of it and the personal growth reasons. And then, more and more we have theater teachers coming, theater educators
That's so
specifically,
cool.
yeah, who are coming to basically pick up tips and tricks from the artist teaching them. At worst, it's just confirming what they already know, and they go back and they feel more confident to work on the tools in a
Yeah.
theater class and singing class and all those things. But also maybe there's new stuff because the people that are teaching it are Broadway artists who are currently pursuing this career, currently deal with rejection, currently deal with purpose as an artist, currently deal with growing physically and vocally and
Yeah.
handling new challenges. So at best they rub shoulders with those people and maybe gain some new inspiration or some joy from it, or a tip or a trick they can take back to their students. But it's really anyone over 18, and we've had people this year we had quite a few 22, 23-year-olds, which was really cool
Yeah.
because I felt so grown up, which was so weird. I was like, wow, we're a different generation. And we also have lots of people going all the way up to, we've had some people, 70, but
That's
and a
so
wide range of
awesome.
demographics, like
Yeah.
professionals to stay-at-home moms to people figuring out what they're doing with their lives, like a real place just to enjoy performing and exploring that side. That's
That's so cool. It reminds me a lot of, when I was in Chicago doing comedy, I took classes at the IO while I was working at Second City, and at IO, we would have people who were desperate to get into the comedy field, but then, like, lawyers who just wanted to get better at public speaking, and people who lived in the suburbs who just wanted, like, a fun thing to do that night. So it sounds like a really wonderful thing to just join a community of, like, a industry that you really enjoy. It sounds like not like a
exactly.
competitive thing at all, like a really wonderful community building place.
And I think like community theater, as wonderful it is a big time commitment for a lot of
Mhm. Oh,
people.
yeah.
So you know, there's definitely people who come back. We've had people now come to us 5, 6 years, 5, 6 times
That's
in the
so
last,
cool.
you know, every year. And I think it's because you know you do get this fix of it in this really intense like vacation way, but it's not something that you have to sort of maintain through the year. Or you
Mhm.
can work on it yourself and take singing classes and you know come back in a different state the next year. But you don't have to, you know.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, they can check this out at broadwayweekends.com. It's in New York, right?
Yes, we currently just run them in New York. That will be the case for the next few years. Like
No,
maybe
for
one
sure.
day we'll run, but like in New York,
Yeah.
the nice about it is, you know, we pick a studio right slap bang in Times Square, and the schedule is packed, and it's this person coming from this show and this person coming from this show, and ding 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 ding, and it definitely adds to the experience of it.
That is so cool. I feel like it's something that, like, not only could people who just really enjoy the theater industry and just want to be a part of it for a week and feel that, I feel like it's also something great for, like, young people. Like you said, you had a couple 22, 23-year-olds. What a fun thing for, like, people working in New York City with a few extra weeks in the summer and the ability to do this, to network, to meet people, but then also just to be in a community of people who just love the art. Because I do feel like sometimes when you're young and you're in New York and you're trying to be an actor, it feels very competitive and grindy and intense. And this just sounds like a wonderful com I love that it's that you refer to it as a summer camp because think
Yeah,
that is, like, so, like, there's so much nostalgia for me in, like, the idea of, like, summer camp and, like, spending time with your friends and, like, that special week where you get to see all your people. That's so cool. I love that people are coming back also, like, 5, 6 years in a row. That's amazing.
yeah, it really has been. The things I've got out of it have been so special and not what I was expecting from running a business, but the people who continue to return really, you know, feel like people I know at this point, and it's wonderful.
Yeah. Are there any, Broadway actors or people from the industry that you've had come and teach or are coming this summer that you're really excited about or you've seen people really enjoy or anything?
Oh yeah, I mean, in the past we've had you know Annie Ashford, Jesse Mueller, like you know really big
Oh my
names come
gosh.
and teach for us, but the we shape it on the current Tony schedule. So in the
Mm,
next few weeks, it's only February when we're recording this.
yeah.
I They're all starting to open all the new shows.
Yeah.
So oh poor me, I can't wait. I'm gonna sort of spend my days off really watching all the new shows
Of course.
to really get an eye on like what show would make a great workshop. Like does this show have great music that we could build a you know group ensemble singing workshop from? Does this show there's one show that has circus this year, so what can we
Yeah.
build around circus? You know, so it's really definitely the schedule is built off of the current Tony season and is therefore new every year.
Yeah.
And that we'll sort of get to that in the next few weeks.
For
March
sure.
March is on the calendar. Start thinking about the scheduling, the programming.
Oh, absolutely. No. This is a question that I didn't prep you for at all, but I feel like you are ready to answer. Is there anything in the upcoming season that you're really excited about? Because I know you just brought up Water for Elephants, and
I'm pretty excited about Water for Elephants. I mean, I love a circus moment.
oh, me too.
Um, and I love the movie. I definitely know it's gonna like hit my heartstrings. I can already like tell. I've heard the music's amazing.
I literally
Um,
heard the same thing. The people down at the Alliance Theater reached out to me and told me a little bit about it 'cause it started there, and they were just like, "You're gonna love this show." I cannot wait. It's gonna be so rad.
I can't wait. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, I thank you so much for chatting with me. I have one last question. I love scenarios and, like, figuring out the brains. I feel like every actor has, like, dream roles and stuff like that. You're currently in a critically acclaimed revival of Sweeney Todd.
Yeah.
You just got off a stint of playing Mrs. Lovett. Amazing. You're
Yeah.
currently the standby for that and Beggar Woman. So dope. I was just wondering, after Sweeney is over, if you
Mhm.
had no budget, no producing, no nothing matters. If they were just like, "What do
Oh,
you wanna revive on Broadway?" I just wanna know,
oh
is
my
there a
gosh.
role or a show that comes to mind that you're like, "I would love to do this?"
Um, so it doesn't have to be on Broadway. A show I'd love to play. I was thinking like, what show would I love to play? I'd love to do The Sound of Music somewhere. I
Oh
mean,
my gosh, of
it's like my
course.
childhood favorite.
Yeah,
I love everything about Maria that she's, I love that character. So I definitely love to play that. But in terms of what I want to do next, I really don't know. I might just need to take a nap.
that's totally fair. I feel like if anyone deserves a nap, it's probably you. Yeah.
There was like a time in my life where I was very like, I got to originate, I got to originate. And in this business, you really have to be very purposeful because you have to like sometimes unemploy yourself to break a new glass ceiling.
Yeah,
And that was such the goal for such a long time. And then Diana, the culmination of that was Diana. That didn't just happen. I had to like really fight to like,
of course.
and then now here we are. The Sweeney Todd was the gift of the gods. I mean, like, I loved being the standby.
Yeah.
I loved it. I loved getting to watch Annalie Ashford up close work. It will forever affect how I approach material and
Mhm.
auditions and the rehearsal room. And then I have loved being the standby where, I mean, it's been a fantastic company where they've made us feel so supported. Um, but when you're on, and when you're not on, um, your time is yours, and
Yeah.
you
That
know
is
it's the
so
best
that
one I've ever
that
had. So
sounds really nice.
so I don't know what is next, but I don't know. I feel like my ambitions or something is shifting, and like I'm just ready to just like maybe take a vacation and run the summer camp. Oh, but hey, I am coming. I am playing drop release. This isn't even announced. Um, Sweeney in Anything Goes at the Muni in August. Reno Sweeney.
Oh, really?
Yes,
Oh my god, that's so exciting.
in my Sweeney Sutton era.
I was gonna say, you're going from one Sutton to the other Sutton. You guys are
I
swapping
know.
places.
So I literally have on my calendar, who knows if we'll make it, that I'm going to go to tap class later today.
That's that is a class you need to be taking when going into Anything Goes.
I know I don't tap, so that I guess that is. I mean,
I was about to go, "You don't tap? What do you mean?"
I know, I know, I know, I know. We got some work to do. I mean, I did do tap in high school,
Yeah.
but it's time to like step it up.
Well, I cannot wait. That's so exciting. Oh, that's so cool. Thank you so much for being on here. Jeanna de Waal, BroadwayWeekends.com. Go check that out. Is there anything else you want us to shout out before we say goodbye?
No, this has been so much fun. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for being on here. Awesome. All right, and we'll shoot off to the next segment.